In the military, people hark back forever to their original training group. Sometimes it fuses into a power cell propelling stellar careers. Sometimes brothers in arms marry into each other's families. Sometimes, decades later, the trainees become generals and stage a coup, making each other wealthy dictators. The 7 people who assembled in the third basement the next day for training did nothing to inspire such lifelong fealty. I recognized the red-haired artist, Rita, and the young guy, Julian, we were not telling each other names, from my own test, and, of course, as he had so confidently predicted, Peter. There were 3 others, survivors of a selection group of 12 several weeks ago. Again, I was lucky. As it turned out, very lucky indeed. I had been told by the head herself on the phone that my test contained several proofing mistakes. Usually, when people make a proofing mistake, I fail them, she said, with the cold assurance of someone who is paid to fail people on a daily basis. I tried not to breathe too heavily into my phone. Had the agent made a mistake? Had I hoped just to be disappointed? But, said the head, yours is the best technical test I've ever seen. Of course, I didn't know how long ever was, but the head had looked to me like someone who had held a long tenure. At the time, I was blissfully unaware of the average length of tenure at that particular company. I should have felt proud of myself, or at least happy, but I was too shocked from my near miss. So you passed, she said. I wish I had had such luck in anthropology. Sorry, I said, and thank you. I've told the trainer you need to be watched, said the head, and hung up. And the training was paid. The agent told me, not very well, but paid. Whereas in my previous field, money at the end of the week, at the end of this week. It had been such a long time since my last paycheck, I wasn't sure I remembered the procedures. But I hoped it would cover my rent and the buses and the makings of sandwiches at home. If I survived the training, I would earn a good hourly wage. And even more, if I got onto the night shift, my goal right from the start. The agent had told me I would, but who knew? It was a long way in the future anyway. At the moment, we were stuck in the T-corner of the third basement. Damp, dark, and surrounded by meter-thick concrete on 5 sides. It was tucked between various competing dead ends. This was not a place where you would want to linger, except, of course, if the only alternative was the training room. Besides, coffee, sugar, and real milk from a fridge were bank benefits that we were already entitled to enjoy, tax-free. I didn't know if the others were all as desperate as I was, but I was absolutely determined to succeed. I would work on my weaknesses and develop my strengths. From now on, I would double and triple check my copying and proofreading. From now on, I would make sure I wouldn't be caught out again and almost not get the job. From now on, I would be sensible and abandon my dreams. Really. We stocked up. Everyone was carrying 2 drinks now, and I was already used to the splash burns on my hands. I decided to look at it as a way of warming up for a freezing shift inside the bunker walls. Rita, the artist, was well ahead of me. As on the day of the test, she wore a long men's shirt over leggings, very different from the usual banking attire, even down here in smart casual land. I felt frumpy next to her, and I never managed to catch up somehow. I had hoped we could maybe become friends or buddies at least, but she hardly ever looked at me except on the few occasions when she was forced to correct some of my opinions on art history. Just wait, said the trainer, a man who always wore a suit, Although it was not mandatory down here, it's even colder on the 7th floor. The 7th floor. That was the place to be, if we made it there. Access to the 7th floor was through continuous assessment by the trainer, and selection would be rigorous. I looked around, and so did Peter. Less than 30% had made it here from each test group. It crossed my mind that there might be a fail quota. The trainer announced a 10-minute break. We took it, grumbling to each other that it wasn't really long enough, since the walk to the tea corner took up a considerable slice of that time. We really had no idea